Hello, my name is Robert Applebaum, and I am the co-founder and executive director of StudentDebtCrisis.org. And the first topic I'll be discussing today is the issue of student loan debt, and specifically, why is student loan debt different than any other type of debt? The answer to that is pretty complex, but to simplify it, the lack of consumer protections on student loan debt makes it different than any other type of debt in America, because there is no risk on the part of the lenders when issuing these loans. So because they know that the student is going to be left on the hook for repaying the loan ultimately because they cannot discharge it in bankruptcy, the lender does not have to engage in any sort of risk-benefit analysis before issuing the loans. So they can issue a loan to anyone with a pulse who wants one. And that person will be stuck with that student loan debt for their life until they pay it. When you take out any other type of loan, let's say a house mortgage, a car loan, a business loan, you as a consumer have the right to restructure that debt under Chapter 13 if you can prove insolvency and an inability to pay. Under Chapter 13, it's a restructuring of debt. Under Chapter 7, it's a discharge of your debt. You can do neither with student loan debt, and you can do both with any other type of debt. So as a result, the lenders face no risk in issuing these loans. Anyone with a pulse who wants to take one can get one, and ultimately they're left on the hook. And because of this lack of risk, colleges and universities have no incentive whatsoever to keep their costs down. Tuition increases yearly by more than the rate of inflation and more than the rate of healthcare inflation, all because there are no bankruptcy protections on these loans. The lenders can keep issuing them without any risk. The colleges and universities can continue to increase their tuition, and the lenders will keep pace with those tuition amounts. They'll lend more and more money to anyone who wants one. And so we have a completely unchecked system of student loan debt here in America, where anyone who wants to take out a student loan, regardless of what they plan on studying in school, regardless of what their prospects for repaying the debt are after graduation, no matter what the circumstances, they can get this loan. And they'll be stuck with it for life. Colleges and universities can continue to increase their tuition, and ultimately students are the ones left holding the bag. Now, is there any hope for student debtors? Fortunately, there is. In the last Congress, the 112th Congress, Representative Hanson Clark of Michigan introduced H.R. 4170, the Student Loan Forgiveness Act of 2012. Unfortunately, Representative Clark lost his primary bid, and therefore is not a member of the 113th Congress. So that bill needs to be reintroduced by another member of Congress, and as the executive director of Student Debt Crisis, that's one of the things that I am working on now, getting another member of Congress to introduce that legislation in the new Congress so that we can have something to rally around. Basically, the Student Loan Forgiveness Act is similar to the income-based repayment program that's offered by the federal government, but differs in a number of respects. Firstly, it allows private student loans to be, through a debt swap arrangement, to be converted into direct loans from the federal government. So you take out a new direct loan to pay off your private student loan, and then that new direct loan becomes enrolled into the program under H.R. 4170, which is a 10-10 standard. 10 years at 10% of your discretionary income, and the remaining amount will be forgiven. It also does not require you to be current on your loans. Unlike the current income-based repayment programs that exist right now, you don't have to be in good standing to enroll in that program. Now, arguably, those who are in default or delinquency need the help the most. So it's foolish, in my opinion, to exclude those people from participation in an income-based repayment program. And therefore, the Student Loan Forgiveness Act of 2012 eliminates that requirement that you be current on your student loans to be eligible to enroll in the program. It also places a cap on the amount of forgiveness that's available to new borrowers. People who already have student loan debt have no caps. They can have the full amount of their debt forgiven after 10 years of payments at 10% of their discretionary income. But for new students, we want to encourage them to make wiser financial decisions when it comes to choosing where to go to school. Therefore, by placing this cap of $45,000 on the amount of forgiveness that would be available to them, they can choose a school that will be more cost efficient for them. And if they know they're only going to be eligible for $45,000 worth of forgiveness, then they'll choose a school that charges less than that amount. In turn, we're hoping that colleges and universities recognize this and start to compete for students. And the way they can successfully compete for students is by lowering their tuition. Tuition rates are out of control, and therefore, we need to tackle that underlying problem to solve the student debt crisis. So H.R. 4170, the Student Loan Forgiveness Act of 2012, will hopefully be reintroduced in the 113th Congress by another member of Congress, and then we can build upon the enormous success that we've had in terms of public support for that bill last year. The Pay-As-You-Earn initiative is something that I actually had a part in helping to come to fruition, because I started a petition on the White House's We the People petition site calling for some measure of student loan forgiveness. So what the Obama administration did in response to my petition, which by the way was the very first petition on We the People to get an official response from the White House, and that official response contained an actual change in policy, which is the Pay-As-You-Earn initiative. It changes the terms of the IBR requirements from 25 years of repayment to 20 years of repayment, and from 15% of your income to 10% of your income. The catch, however, is that it's only available to new borrowers. So borrowers who take out money beginning in 2012 can be subject to the more generous levels of 20 years of repayment at 10% of your income. So the Pay-As-You-Earn initiative is a good step in the right direction because it builds upon the success or the wisdom of income-based repayment by lowering the requirements for repayment. It falls short of a full solution because it's only available to new borrowers. But anything that chips away at the status quo, in my opinion, is a step in the right direction. We have a student loan system that is completely out of control. So anything that really makes it easier for borrowers to repay their debts and to get that monkey off their back is a good thing. But it's not enough. And that's why, working with Hanson Clark, we came up with H.R. 4170, the Student Loan Forgiveness Act, which also builds upon the mechanism of IDR, income-based repayment.